Hi, welcome back to another first-person fitness episode. Today we are going to be doing another review of another motivational speech from a movie from Any Given Sunday from 1999, the Al Pacino Inches speech, as the screen shows. I have my points written down over here so I don't forget anything important. Let's just, get started.
I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes to the biggest battle of our professional lives.
By the way, just 3 minutes before a game starts, for those of you who have not played any form of sports or competed in any form of formal or informal capacity, obviously the minutes before you're getting back into the game, if it's not clear, stress is high. It's hard to, this whole speech is about to give, it's hard to relay information when stress is really high. And obviously right now is a critical moment in the movie.
All comes down to today. Either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen.
So he mentions heal as a team, and he basically gave them the goal. In other words, the goal at the end is to come together as a team. Clearly, they're not working together as a team. He places the goal. Now, the remainder of the video is going to be him kind of breaking it down and how do we get to that goal.
Believe me. And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back.
So he also talks about that they're in hell right now. He's giving them the situation. You know, this is how it is. Basically, in life, a lot of times there's like a form of reframing you can do. You can look at any given situation and say to yourself, "Oh, this sucks. I wish it would be different." Now, the wish it would be different is it's a small thing to say, but it's very catastrophic, because by wishing something to be different, it means you're not accepting what can be now. In other words, in order to overcome an obstacle that's in front of you, you have to admit the obstacle exists. You know, you can't say, "Oh, I want to be somewhere else. I wish I had a car. I wish I had the ability to fly. I wish superpowers were real." Wishing for things doesn't necessarily make them happen, and it also doesn't help you accept the current situation. Saying, "Oh, I want to be somewhere else, but I'm not. How do I fix that? Or how do I just accept the current situation I'm in?" So by saying that they're in hell right now, he's basically saying, this is the situation we're in, and now let's talk about the situation. Let's work our way from here. This is ground zero. There's no lower. This is the bottom. This is the base that we're starting with. This is the cards you're dealt with.
Into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. I look around, I see these young faces, and I think, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can.
We interrupt your usual programming to bring you 2 messages. One is, do you like my blue light glasses? I use them while I'm on the computer for many hours, be it school, editing. It's not a commercial. I just want you to know. That's why there's a blue reflection. And the second message is, as I was editing this video for YouTube, apparently you can't have, I think, more than 30 seconds of a copyright content without editing or changing it or something. So I had already uploaded it to the YouTube, and then it told me, you can't do that. And so here I am adding a little bit of content, basically just to fill in the time. So if you want, you can totally skip ahead this part here. Yeah. All right. I guess back to your usual content.
May. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not. I chased off anyone who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in the mirror.
This is actually an important moment because there's different types of coaching methods, and there's different theories in which coaches use to work with their athletes, especially in team sports. And one of them is being an example or setting an example for your team. Now, obviously, throughout the movie, in this particular movie, Al Pacino's character does not set the best example. And obviously, why would you listen to someone if they don't exemplify the things they're talking about? So by telling them and or reaffirming his history and things, you hear them chuckle. Obviously, they know these things about him, but he's kind of admitting them that he's aware of his shortcomings, and by doing so, he's basically putting, again, the card analogy. He's putting all the cards on the table, and he's like, "Listen, this is what I'm playing with, right? I'm not hiding anything from you now. Everything I'm telling you now is face value. Take everything I say now at face value. It's like straight truth, and not hiding anything."
When you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere. Every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the difference between winning and losing.
I think there's also, first of all, I have a hard time telling if he's saying itches or inches at this point, but I think this is like the crux of the video. In other words, we mentioned before in the beginning where he says that you have to heal as a team. In other words, a team has to come together, and in that sense, he's talking about the goal. The goal is the big picture is the team needs to come together. And now he's kind of breaking it down. He's talking about these inches. Now, what these inches are is also in sports, but also in actual life. We don't always, most times, we don't see the big picture. In other words, in our context, when it comes to physical fitness or mental health, and the combination of the two, so there's a lot of times where you don't see the small increments. In other words, if a person be going to the gym, if they're new to the gym, new to exercising, they'll see improvement relatively quickly, quote unquote newbie gains. But as time goes on, those improvements get less and less and less, and then you're like, oh, I'm not making any progress. But that's not true. You just can't see the progress. In other words, it's micro, thingamajiggers in your muscles, and it's the on the cellular level, or it's just a small thing, or and just anything with sports. It's like you might be losing right now, or you might not be doing amazing, but as he says, inch by inch. In other words, you have to believe in the bigger picture, which in this case is to come together as a team. And in order to do so, you have to just do a lot of small things. And obviously, that's not something new to everybody that's watching this, but it's sometimes good to hear that and to remember that small things add up, be it mental health and improvements, be it, physical abilities, be it pretty much everything in life. And it's only when we look back at them can we really realize that. And it's just something that even though we know it, we forget it. Super easy to forget it. And so I think it's less about understanding it and more about having acknowledgement that we'll forget it and to remind ourselves of it on occasion.
Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that itch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that itch.
Also, quick sidebar, I mean, the whole, dying to win the thing, whatever. I'd say that in particular, that line, even though it might be a bit outdated, is relevant mainly or even only for competitive sports and athletes who are, let's say, it's their career. A lot of people tend to think that, the NFL player or the NBA player or, I don't know, pick any sport you want. So those are just the two that came to my mind. That they're the epitome of health because they're the epitome of physical fitness. The fact of the matter is, being an athlete on a competitive level, especially in the high level, is not healthy. It's not a long-term health plan. Athletes don't do things to be healthy. They do things to win. You could be an amazing football player on your high school or college level or whatnot, but until you're getting paid to do it, there's a certain level of risk to reward ratio that you're willing to put into it. But once you start, it's your career, all of a sudden, there's a lot more things that are important. You want to be now number one in whatever it is you're doing. And I'm not talking necessarily about illegal compounds or things that are against the rules. Within the confines of the rules, there are things to do that are not healthy. An example, an athlete could be before a big competition, let's say the Olympics, train for 4 years. All of a sudden, 2 weeks out from the Olympics, there's a wrist injury. They go to the sports doctor. The sports doctor says, "Listen, I can put something on it to kind of hold it in place. I can give you a bunch of painkillers, and you can go ahead with the event. You'll have to go into rehab afterwards. There's going to be a lot of pain, but the alternative is that you don't compete, and we do the healing process slowly and regularly, and that's just kind of like the end of it. And you can't compete. Obviously, the healthy option is to not compete, but that's not what athletes are there to do. So this whole dying thing for the itch, whatever, I'd say that just as your mindset, don't look at that as a general mindset for everything you do in life. But again, it's very much dependent on the scenario. In this case, high-level athleticism and competitive sports.
Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. Hell yeah. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because...
Future Ari coming in hot again with another update. Just wanted to point out that along the lines of coaching and, different... coaching methods and methodologies. Sports psychology also talks a lot about the coaches, not just about the athletes. And what this coach is actually also doing in this scene right now, and also talking about, is he knows his audience. He knows what his team needs to hear. He knows when you could see the athlete, reacts to it, and he sees that this is what needs to be said. And granted, if you watch the rest of the movie, the coach isn't necessarily the best person around, but he definitely, at least at this point in the movie, knows what he's doing. And that's something that even the best sports psychologists can't do unless they're, around. You have to know the people. It's not just about having the tools to do. People aren't a blueprint. It's not, here's how you fix or do or think, and then, just put that on every person. You have to know your audience. We will now return to your usual content.
Because he knows when it comes down to it, you're going to do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. Hell yeah. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is.
So now they yell a bunch and then run out of the room, but that's pretty much the end of the video. I'll just point one last thing before we sign off, is that it talks about the team, and that is what a team is, and the person next to you is willing to do that inch to inch. A coach or the facilitators that are not the athletes themselves, they're the ones involved in strategizing. They're the ones involved in deciding what player, does what, goes where. But fact of the matter is, even the best player in any team sport, in other words, if you're not in a sport that involves being alone, one person, you can't win without a team. In other words, if you're, let's say, a basketball player, right, and you're the best, you're the number one basketball player, but you're playing alone versus 5 players, you might even, let's say you're amazing enough that you can play against 5 players all by yourself on the highest level. You can't last an entire basketball game that way. You'll gas out eventually. In any team sport, be it 2 people or be it 100, even the best player can't win alone. Which, when put into perspective, when you think about it, okay, so the best player, let's say if there are 5 players on a team, so each player is not worth 20%. The best player is worth, let's say, 80%, and the other 4 are worth the rest. That's not true. It's not true simply because it just doesn't work that way, because it can't work. If the goal is to win at the end in a team sport, you can't win alone. In strategy, is the best player or the best assist player or other types of positions more or less important depending on the scenario in the particular sporting event and moment in the game? Yes, different people have different levels of importance throughout a game. But again, no one holds more to the victory. So yeah, I'm going to leave you on that note. I hope you enjoyed this. It was interesting for me to make. I haven't watched this movie, I think, in years. If you noticed, I didn't talk about the plot too much. I don't remember it very well, and I don't want to get anything wrong. But I'm definitely going to rewatch this movie. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like and a comment. I probably should start saying those things more often somewhere else, but here I am saying it. Ciao.